Hi, it's Cassie with Cassie's Parlor, and today I'm working with the Crossover 2 and a really awesome Maker's Movement die and stamp set actually. It's called In Full Bloom, and I've made a mess of it here, but it does have an inner and outer vase, so you can do shaker. We're going to do shaker card. It has a 3D flower bloom with the outline. It's got a tag and a leaf and some really cute little stamps that go with it, and we're going to use a bunch of it today here, and I'm going to show you a really fun, pretty quick project that you can make. And here is the shaker card we're going to make. So there you can see all that shaker goodness in there. I added some glitter and sequins. We've got some 3D flowers and really, really pretty. I used the stamps to make a pattern background. It was pretty simple, and I'm going to walk you through step by step, okay? So first we're going to start with clear acetate sheets from Maker's Movement. Now these are awesome. They look blue, but I'm just going to show you really quick. I've already got my piece ready to cut, but just so you know, when you get this, you see that it's blue, but you just peel back both sides of the film, and then you've got your clear acetate. That really just protects it from getting scratched up, okay, until you're ready to use it. So just make sure you do that, and it does tell you on the packaging, in case you forget, important, remove the protective cover. So that's that, okay? So just so you know, so I've already got the big outline of the vase with acetate in here. We're cutting on number 1. If you've never used the Crossover 2 before, I would recommend finding my video that demos the machine and shows you how to use it. And it's very, very simple, very powerful, and you'll be able to learn how to use it, and I'll always tell you the numbers that we're using to cut. Okay, so then we're cutting the outer vase. Now we've got, it's hard to see, it's clear, but there's the clear outer piece of acetate for our vase so that we can make a shaker out of this. All right, and then I'm going to put that aside, and then the other piece I want to show you that I'm going to cut with you is the foam. So this is double-sided foam adhesive, foam with adhesive on both sides, okay? And this is what I'm going to use to make my shaker. This is also from the Maker's Movement. It's amazing, and you think like this tiny little thin-lit die, there's no way it's going to go through this thick foam, but it does. And I'm going to show it to you now because my jaw kind of dropped a little bit. It was pretty amazing, okay? So I need the insert because we're just going to make the liner part. So if I show you my card, the only foam we need is where you see the yellow. There's foam underneath that, right? And that allows you to have the window and make the shaker and have that space in between. So that's the piece we're cutting now. So we just want to line up these two vase dies, and definitely use tape for this, okay? Use some low-tack tape to keep it in place because you do not want to it moving around when it goes through the machine, okay? So just take a minute to make sure it's lined up nice and even. Sorry, you might see my head in the shot here. I'm not trying to. And then try to keep it, you know, in the corners so you get as much use out of the foam as possible. And then we're going to run it through. And so for the foam pieces, we're going to be on number 4. All right. And here we go. I was so shocked when I saw this. I'm like, there's no way this foam is way too thick. But it does it, and it's so cool. Let me just bring this back on this side here so we can see that it went right through. Okay, so I'm going to be really careful because there is, you know, it's adhesive on both sides, so I don't want to peel off that part just yet. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? I'm being careful because I don't want the paper to come off just yet for it. Here we go. Look at that. Look at this. It's amazing. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So now with this machine, you can cut foam pieces out whatever shape you want to make any kind of shaker card you want with a thin lit die, which is just unheard of, I think. So super duper excited about this. So many possibilities. So the rest of it, I mean, there's a lot of cutting happening for this project, but I did it all ahead because I didn't want you to have to sit and watch me cut. You know, I would rather show you how to put the project together. So we're just going to move the machine out of the way really quick. And we've got this card here is sort of a base to guide us through. And as you can see here, I've got all the parts ready to go. So I'll teach you how to make this 3D flower, and then we'll assemble everything, okay? The first thing, though, I want to do before we make our card is show you something you can do with this insert, this inner piece. This isn't garbage. It's still a vase, right? And it's a 3D foam vase with double-sided adhesive. So peel one side of the adhesive off. If you're a glitter person, which I most certainly am, look at this one I've already done. Okay, and then put the sticky side up and get your glitter. Okay, and then just sprinkle it over the top of that sticky side. All right, and then I like to smash it in a little bit just to make sure we get really good coverage everywhere. Okay, smash it in there really good with my fingers. Again, I love glitter. I realize that some people really don't like glitter, and this would probably be like pretty scary for them. So if that's the case, don't do it. There are other ways that you can use this. You could cut out a piece of pattern paper and make it into a pattern, you know, and stick it on the top of the foam adhesive, make it a pattern paper vase. You could do flocking, you could do lots of stuff, okay? You could do embossing powder if you were very careful because you don't want to melt the foam. But there, if you like glitter, look at how beautiful that is. I am a glitter person. I really love glitter quite a bit, so I chose to do that. But I just wanted to show you that you definitely can use that inner piece for something else, and it's not going to go to waste. And we're just going to wipe that glitter off. Okay, those are for a different project another time. Really quick, we're going to walk through putting this together and creating our background, and then we'll be done. So first we'll create the background and then let it sit aside so it can just dry and hang out for a minute. I've got 3 different colors of Catherine Pooler ink. I have Rockin' Red, Fiesta Blue, and Orange Twist. Okay, we're going to go in this order. Let's get that guy over there so we don't lose him. Alright, so now I've got a couple of different flower stamps here from the set. Okay, oops, it's not in the camera there. So from the set here, I picked the 2 flowers, and we're just going to make a fun flower background. So I'm starting with the bigger flower. I'm going to put this right in the middle, and we'll start with the Fiesta Blue, and I tend to do like 3 of each in each color. You know, so I'll do 3 Fiesta Blues of the large flower. Ooh, look how pretty. Ooh, that's so bright. And I try to like space them out, you know, do them different areas, have them going off the page a little bit. That just helps move your eye around the page. And, you know, I just stamp off until it's mostly clean. I'm not super fussy about cleaning my stamps, but you definitely could wipe it down and go for your next color, whatever is comfortable for you, okay? So then we're gonna come in here. And remember, a good amount of this is going to get covered up anyway, so you don't have to spend too much time thinking about, oh, where to put it and placement, all that. It's just a pretty fun, bright background, and, you know, just playing around. So then we've got the Rockin' Red, and these, I chose these inks because they're super juicy. Catherine Pooler inks are so juicy. I really love them. And here, you could even turn this. We probably should have been turning this so we had like a little different pattern shape. But anyway, yeah, and the colors for the ink are really fantastic. So now we've done all 3 colors in that bigger flower. I'm going to start back at the beginning. I do the red last because it's a bit more, it stains a bit more, and I didn't want to, look at, we smudged there a little bit, but we're going to cover that right up. You won't even see it, so no worries. Okay, we're just making a fun background. So anyway, here we are with the Catherine Pooler inks again in the smaller flower. And again, just going kind of off the page and all over the place. Okay, we're going to clean this off. Move on to our next color. My fingers are kind of dirty. I probably should clean them before we move on after this. I think I will, just to make sure. Okay, so then I'm going to flip this over just so we get a little bit different direction for that pattern. That's okay. Most of that will get covered anyway. And this guy can go down here, and then we'll do a couple reds. And I think we'll be good. This page is pretty full. Looks great. All right, we'll do a couple of red flowers in this smaller version right there, and we need something right there. And how about up here? Pretty. Okay, looks good to me. Okay, so that is all done. So now we're going to put all of our stamping away because we're done with that. I'm real quick going to wipe my fingers because I don't want to get white smudges all over the place. Just going to grab a baby wipe. That ink is very juicy and inky, and you know, it's easy to get your fingers all dirty. So here we go. That's better. Some of it's just stuck on there. That's okay. So now we're done with this part. We're going to set this aside. We're going to work on the shaker part, and then we can put it all together. Okay, so this is the piece we cut out of foam. So it's just foam with sticky on both sides, and here's all of our parts. So first, this bloom we are going to use, so this is just this is the die set in there. So bloom I've done in black glossy paper, and then this is just a really cool iridescent blue kind of foilish paper that I have. Okay, so I'm going to use my Barely Art precision craft glue for this next step because it is amazing. It's got a really good precision tip on it, and it sticks like right now. You know, you've got a minute of wiggle room to move it around on whatever you're sticking it to, but once it's down and it's got a minute, then it's not going anywhere, and it's just so awesome. And I love this precision tip. This is my go-to wet adhesive nowadays. Okay, there we go. And I've got a little bit hanging over, but it's not a big deal. Just line that up. I'm going to put my palm on this to sort of set it in place, and then that picks up any of that excess glue and you're not even going to see it. Okay, so there we've got that layered bloom word. Look at how pretty that is. Really crisp and bright. Okay, so that's ready. Moving on, we've got our acetate piece. We have the background, which is that same blue foily paper. I thought that would look nice as kind of like water or something. All right, so first we're going to peel off the back of the foam, okay? And I line it up on the top just because there's a nice straight line there, and hopefully I get it right. I almost never am exactly right on, but it's okay. It's a handmade card, right? So now we've got a little well in there, okay? So just going to stick that down. Make sure it's nice and stuck. The adhesive on that is very sticky, so no need to use extra glue, I think. It works just fine. Have your acetate piece cleaned off and ready to go, okay? Then we're going to take, I have some confetti sequin. It's like just clear iridescent, okay? I thought against that blue would be really pretty. And then I also have some holographic turquoise glitter, because I can't not have some glitter in there, right? So we're gonna open that up, get it ready, and then we're just gonna pour some sequins in here. And you know, I've made a few of these shaker cards now, and I'm definitely not a pro, but what I will say that ooh, that's probably too many. What I will say is I found that I was putting not enough. You definitely want a good amount. That actually might be okay. I'm going to take a few out and then show you what I have. The first couple I did, I definitely didn't put enough. Whoops. And you can totally make a mess like this. I definitely didn't put enough, and I wished I put more. So this time I'm going to put a few extra, and hopefully that will be good. And this is fun too, this particular sequin mix, because it's got little stars in it, and it's got smaller and bigger sequins. It's very pretty. So I think that's probably enough. I'm going to put the rest of these back in the container, and I always make a mess. No big deal. It's kind of like glitter, right? Okay, so let me show you how many I have in here now. I think this is going to be pretty good. So there you can see it's maybe half full, but just think about when that shakes, you know, you want them to be able to see all that prettiness. And then I'm just going to take a couple quick taps of the glitter just to add a little bit extra, okay? And so there's the glitter, not that much. All right, so now we've got to make sure that everything in here is inside the well. This is the most important part, because if, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see better what I'm doing here. If there's anything hanging out on the edge that causes it to not be able to stick to the acetate on top, you're going to have like a spot where it's not sealed. And then there's a chance that your sequin stuff could leak out of there, okay? So you just really want to make sure that that sticky edge is really clean and doesn't have anything sticking to it like it does right now. One second, I just have a tiny little thing, but I'm going to take my tool and gently coerce it back in to the middle, and I'm worried this is gonna, okay, my finger is stuck to it now too. Okay, we're good. I just had one sequin kind of half stuck to the edge there, and that would cause trouble. So you just want to make sure it was all nice. Okay, there we go. We're good. Okay, just want to make sure there's nothing stuck to that edge. All right, can you still see me? There we go. All right, so then I'm going to line up that top again. It's pretty important to get it fairly lined up, because you definitely don't want any pockets where it could leak out, right? Okay, so then you're going to press all around where the foam is. Okay, so now you have a fun shaker. And do you see how nice it is that there's extra in there? It looks actually like water's in the vase, right? Cool. Okay, so now we don't want to see that foam. So you cut out, you use both, where are they? Well, you use both the inner and outer die. Here it is. Okay, and then that will give you this. And then this fits exactly right over that foam. So then you don't see the foam, you just have this nice border. And of course you can make that any color, any style, any whatever you want, right? So I'm going to use my my precision wet adhesive again. This is from Barely Arts. They're a new company, but I gave them a chance and tried them, and I honestly won't use any other wet adhesive now. I just really love it a lot. And I always make sure to put the pin back in when I'm done using it so that nozzle doesn't clog. And I've had it for several months and I haven't had any issues with it clogging, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so then you've got a little wiggle room with this wet adhesive to move this around and get it right where you want it. And don't worry if there's a little bit of glue hanging out over the edge, because it dries clear. And you can always pat your finger down and lift it if you really need to. All right, so there we go. So there, our little shaker vase is done. Look at how cute that is. Oh my goodness, I love it so much. It's so fun to do. These are so easy and fun. I haven't made a ton of shaker cards, but I'm kind of addicted now. They're really fun to do. So now we have three flowers, 3D flowers, and it comes from this die right here, okay? And so this die cuts all of those lines, and then you're left with this sort of spiral thing, okay? And if you've never made these before, I'm going to teach you real quick how to do it. I'm going to leave that camera close up so you can really see what I'm doing. So I'm starting with my thumbs in the middle, and I'm just kind of like loosening up the fibers of the paper so that they can bend easily, and you know, makes it easier for me to work with. You could also, before you start rolling this, you could put some ink on it and give it some tone so it's not just a flat color. There's a lot of things you can do with this, but I'm just going to show you the basics today and how you can make a flower. So you start with that little, let me show you. You see that little circle there in the middle? So I start with that and I hold it with my thumb and forefinger, and then I make it so it's going to make kind of like a bowl, okay? And you're just going to pinch it in Can you see what I'm doing there? And then you're just going to go around and make it as tight or as loose as you want. Okay, the goal is kind of to have those petals be, you know, a little bit opposite each other so you can see them all. And then all I do, and probably other people do it differently, but this is how I make my flowers. I put a little bit of adhesive, probably like a tape runner is the best and easiest way. I wouldn't necessarily use wet adhesive here just because it's going to take a minute to dry and then you'd have to hold it and wait. And so this is just a tiny bit easier this way, okay? So then while it's all rolled up, you just decide how tight or loose you want it to be and you stick that down, and now you've got a cute little 3D flower. No big deal, really simple, really cute, okay? So we'll do that with the other two. I'm just gonna loosen up the fibers, get it ready to roll, okay? And then I'm gonna grab the middle and start rolling. And these aren't very big either, so they really don't take much at all. Just a quick roll, put some tape on the end, pinch it together. There we go. We've got flower number 2 already, okay? And number 3, really simple. And you know, if you've never done this before and you're like, oh, I can't do it, I'm having trouble, just keep practicing. You just need to practice and you will get it and you'll be great, I promise. Get some regular paper that you don't care about, you know, and just cut a bunch of them out and sit and practice until you get it right. It really doesn't take much, but if you're nervous about it, you know, or you feel like you're not doing it the way you want, just get some paper and practice. So there we go. We've got 3 little flowers. Super cute. Okay, now we're ready to start assembling this card. Look at how fast this is going. All right, so first what I want to do is stick this onto my card base, which is that pretty red mat. Okay, and I'm just going to use my tape runner for this because it's just paper to paper. No big deal, right? Okay, and I'm going to bring this back out a little bit so that you can see my full table again. That's better. We have no more super detailed work going on. I'd rather you see more. Okay, so now we're just going to stick this down. We've got our nice mat here. And remember, we're not really going to see that smudgy spot. That's the beauty of all of this. Now this, I am going to use, the rest of this, I'm going to use my precision glue. You don't need a lot, right? Just, can you see? There you go. You can kind of see. Just a little bit goes a long way. And we're going to put this down in the lower 2/3. Okay. And just let it sit there for a second. Let that glue do its thing. Okay. And then we're going to use, I am going to actually put the pin back in because we don't need this for a minute or so. And then I am going to get my 3D Zotz glue dots. Okay. And these are awesome. They're like, can you tell? If you've never used them, they're like dome shaped and really thick. So, oops, my one flower came apart here. I maybe didn't put enough adhesive, but we're about to put a 3D glue dot on here, and that is going to take care of business. So first let's do the orange one, and I'm just going to put the glue dot on the back, and this just sticks like right now, like it means business, and it's not going anywhere. So that's why I'm using this, and it gives it some more dimension too, so it helps it pop up just a tiny bit more, even if, you know, it doesn't really need it, but it does help. So then I'm just going to layer these the way I like them. All right, and then do the last one in yellow. Okay, here we go. Uh-oh, he's coming through that. There we go, perfect. That glue dot is super sticky, oh my goodness. So I want him to kind of face that way a little bit. There we go, look at that. We're moving right along, super duper cute. Okay, so now we're going back to the bloom. All right, so we're going to take my wet adhesive here, and I really only need to do it in the middle because the edges are going to be hanging off the side of that vase. Okay, so I'm kind of doing it Oh, I want to cover that one spot up, so I'm going to do it a little bit different spot than I did the last time. But I want it to be near the bottom, but still see some of that bottom of the vase, so it's not kind of floating in space. But I also want you to see some of that shaker, right? And then we have the Live Life in Full that I've stamped onto white cardstock with VersaFine Clair and Nocturne. I did that ahead. Some of this stuff, you know, stamping this little sentiment, I felt like you already know how to do that, so saved us a little bit of time there. Oops. Okay, then the last thing I want to do is take some of these pretty rhinestones, and I'm just going to use the clear ones because why not? They're beautiful. There's tons of color already going on in here, so I really think the clears just work nicely. Okay, so we're going to get 3 of those out, and then I've got my pickup tool here. This is called Pick Me Up. It's from Silhouette, and it's just got like sticky gummy stuff on the end. And so I pick up my jewel, I put a tiny bit of glue. This is the best way I've found to do it. And then I just stick this down, and I actually use my pin to help get it off because that sticky stuff is super sticky. If you have a better pickup tool, then definitely use that. This one does work really well. It's just pretty, really sticky. I haven't used this one in a bit, so. All right, so then just put jewels down, and I just put one little guy in the center of each, and this is all done. We're going to put it onto our card base, and then we're totally done with this. And it's super cute. It was a quick project. You know, you just get your machine out, cut all the pieces all at the same time, you know, one right after another, and then you can just sit down and make it. And you could cut out a bunch of these and make several cards. I think anyone would really love to get this in the mail. Super duper beautiful. Okay, so then we get our card base. Okay, and this has a pattern on one side and flat on the other. I'm going to let the pattern be on the back, so when they flip it over, they've got a pretty pattern to look at. So I'm just going to use my tape runner again. Maybe, are you going to work there? Okay, there we go. And then I'm just going to stick my card to the base. I like to hold it up so those edges line up nice. Okay. And that's it. Look at that. Super duper cute. I love this card so much. It's very summery and very fun. 3D shaker, right? Look at those sequins in there. Super duper fun. I love this so much. So there's the card for today, using the In Full Bloom stamp and die set and the crossover to machine with acetate and this awesome double adhesive foam that works with Thinlit dies through that crossover machine, the crossover 2. So I hope that you enjoyed this project, and if you did, maybe consider subscribing to my channel and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. And if you would share this video with your friends, I really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.